Welcome to Roots and Resilience. I'm Dr. Tejal.
And I'm Dr. Nehal. We have had some incredible conversations with inspiring individuals that we feel compelled to share with you all.
Listen with an open mind and an open heart. You never know, you might just pick up a pearl that might spark something in you.
Enjoy.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Roots and Resilience. We are so delighted to have Penny Ford with us, who is the co-founder of Brilliant Beyond Belief, a global consultancy that helps leadership teams and organizations unlock the next level of performance by transforming the people within them. Earlier in her career, she founded and ran a successful independent school. Can I just repeat that? She founded and ran a successful independent school and has so much experience that shaped her vision, her culture, her belief in vision, culture, and the power of people to achieve far more than they ever imagined. We are super excited to get right into it. And Penny, I'm going to start off by saying you are an amazing woman who we've gotten to know, and you've got so much wisdom to share. With the current work that you're doing with leaders, businesses here at International, what are the common issues, challenges, themes that are coming up that you're noticing?
Firstly, thank you so much for having me, both of you. Delighted to be here. So the biggest challenges, and it's interesting because we work, as you said, globally, and it's always the same. You know that as leaders, we're all leaders, and we turn up every day, and it's our duty to perform at 100%. Absolutely, that's what we're paid for. It's our business, or that's our journey. So we're there, and we get frustrated, even exasperated, when everyone around us is not operating at that same level. And I thought it was just me to begin with, and then as I got working with more and more and more leaders, I realised that that's common. And actually, we started doing research in this, and Gallup, McKinsey, Bain, they all say the same thing, that there's actually a delta, there's a transmission gap. So even if we are 100%, we're absolutely on form, everyone around us is only going to be at a maximum 70%, even if they're giving their all, because there's a gap when you deliver communication or information, energy that you just can't get to. So it's that frustration. And the way around that is, it's always back to the leaders. It's not anyone else, it's always on us. So how can we operate at a much higher level? And I don't mean doing more hours. That's not what this is about. How can we be 143% leader? How can we rock up absolutely being able to delegate, being able to have difficult conversations, having an energy up there that we can snap when we need to be? So for me, it's that people get exasperated with people around them, not because they're not brilliant, they are. They've been handpicked by the CEOs, the team leaders, but because of that gap. So it's leadership energy, it's leadership communication, it's alignment. Everybody wants everybody to be on that same page and rowing in the same direction. So that's what we do, and that's what we hear, whether it's in Nairobi, whether it's in the UK, whether it's in America. It's the alignment piece. It's that fire in the belly. It's that energy. And if you've got that North Star goal that we've spoken about a lot, you've got that North Star goal, that impact goal that everyone can say, this is why. When you've got goals with purpose, then everything's worthwhile. When you've just got a goal and there's no purpose behind it, that's stress, that's overwhelm, that's anxiety. So that's it, the delta that we're seeing, and how we can close that. That's what I'm really passionate about, and what we are.
Wow. And do you feel
Does that make
like
sense?
that does. And that delta and that gap, that closing, do you feel like every leader has the capacity to close that delta?
So the way you do it is it's only on you. I think a lot of the time, everyone looks as a leader at the team, and it's our duty as a leader to empower. If you think, and there's two jobs of a leader, one is to make massive decisions because it's on your shoulders, and the other is to nurture and coach and create, not followers, create future leaders. We've got to have the right space in our diaries and in our brains to be able to do that. So if we're operating at the 143% leader, that means that 70% of 143 is 100. So everybody does rise because you're operating at that next level. So as a leader, we're always trying to be at next level, next level, next level. So you've got clarity, you've got focus, you can make a decision like that. You can delegate well, you can hold people to account well, not in a hitting them with a stick way, but in a nurturing and learning environment. People want to be led and they want to be challenged and they want to grow. There's a lot about recruitment and retention with that as well. So yeah, absolutely. But as a leader, you've got to know it's on you. And it's not about working more hours. It's about working as a true leader and being a better leader every single day.
Is it sustainable to operate at 143%? Like
It's not about
consistently?
yeah, it's not about doing more. So actually the 143% leader of me is me making sure I go to the gym. Yeah, it's me making sure that I have that meditation time. It's me, I call them mind apples. And I know you guys, it's all about resilience and how can we sustain it. The 143% leader has a chunk every single day to make sure that they can. It makes sure that they can be the best leader possible because it's our duty. You put you first. You know, when you're in the airplane, you put your oxygen mask on first. If you're not giving yourself the nutrients that you need, there's no way that you can give everybody else the nutrients they need. So absolutely, but it's what are the other things that only you can do? I think we've done before, we've spoken about the 10, 100 and £1,000 tasks, and you should only be doing the £1,000 tasks. £1,000 tasks are the things going to the gym, for me, making sure I have a huge amount of water. I'm obsessed with that. That makes my brain clear. I'm on all cylinders. It
I'm
means
just going to
that,
interrupt there, Penny,
yeah,
just for our listeners, because I
yeah,
think that you're going to explain this beautifully, and B, I think they'll really value this.
yeah.
Give us and explain the concept of the 100,000 task, please.
Yeah, thank you for stopping me because I always think that has been with us like you have for years. So if you were to look at your day, so you get to the end of the day and you look back at all the different tasks you've been doing, you can identify which tasks are £10 tasks, which tasks are £100 tasks, and which tasks are £1,000 tasks. And the way you know that is £10 tasks can be delegated, automated, or eliminated. So there'll be things that you're doing that you shouldn't be doing that you can delegate, automate, and eliminate. And in today's world with AI, there's a huge amount of those that we can actually automate. It's not even about having another person. Now, if you're, this is for leaders who've got teams, or it's for, so if you're starting out, it might be you haven't got somebody that you can actually delegate it to, but you can look at what you're doing and think, actually, I shouldn't be doing this. It's not moving the needle of my career or my business. So it could be, say if you looked at your day and there'll be a time when you're scrolling through on your phone, that's not a task that is it going to be getting you anywhere towards your North Star. So all the time you're thinking, what's my North Star? What direction am I going in? Either as my career or as my company? And think, is that what's moving the needle? So £10 task, delegate, automate, eliminate. £100 task, delegate or automate. £1,000 task is a task that only you can do. It's the best use of your time. It's your role and it's the biggest needle mover to your business or your career. That's the only one that you can do. There's another layer of this because there are lots and lots of £1,000 tasks or $1,000 tasks, depends where you are in the world, that you can still delegate them, but you've got to have the right people if you've got a team. But if you're individual, that's the way I would look at it. Things that you're doing. So, for example, for me back in the day, I spent a lot of time watching TV. There's nothing wrong in watching TV, but I was actually watching the soaps. And when I added up all the amount of time I was watching that, they didn't make me happy. They actually made me miserable. I was almost addicted to, I've got to do that, I've got to be ready to watch it. And it was not having a positive impact on any of my relationships, certainly not on my career at the time. So it's really being cognizant of what you're doing with your hours. We've all got the same hours in the day. So what are you doing with your hours? And is it actually growing you or is it actually squashing you down?
That's brilliant. And I think everyone listening to this, whether you're in a position of leadership, but to be fair, we are all leaders of our own lives.
Yeah.
Whether you're leading a family, whether you're
Yeah.
leading, you're running your household, whether even if you're self-employed, you might be, running and you're on your own, you're still managing that. So I think we need to all firstly consider ourselves leaders, because often I abdicated that responsibility thinking, oh, well, I don't want to have my own business, or I don't want to practice. I live at home with my parents. Like, I didn't actually see myself as a leader until maybe more recently, whereas no, actually there is a lot that you are in control of, and you've got to take ownership and responsibility of that. So anything leadership, I think, doesn't matter what your position, like, tune in, because you can learn from it. Secondly, I think it's a brilliant exercise of reflecting on how you spend your 24 hours, because we all need to eat, sleep, all of those things, but where can you potentially, because we're always short of time, everything, like, I always hear, I'd love to do this, I don't have the time, I really want to do that, I don't have the time. But it's a great get out of jail, like, excuse as well, but actually you will make time for things you value, and the way you make time is actually seeing where your time is being leaked. And it could be like you, Penny. I did exactly the same exercise about 3 years ago, and I realized TV adds zero value to my life, got rid of it, and I managed to read instead of watch TV, and I got through started getting through my reading list, and because I was complaining I never had time to read. So do just take that little bit of time out and just have a look and reflection. Just yesterday you had 24 hours, what did you do with it? And then you'll certainly start finding these pockets of time, which is amazing. Next I want to talk about is culture. So Penny, how do you create and also maintain culture within an organization?
My personal culture. Okay, the culture is, there's a project that I'd really that Google ran called Project Aristotle, and I'd really recommend you guys listeners to read it. And they were looking at teams. I imagine Google, all their teams are brilliant, right? But some of their teams were outstanding. Their culture was incredible. What they were able to achieve was head and shoulders above the others. Even though everyone was good, there were some teams that were exceptional. So what made the culture of those teams different? And it was 100, I think it was 130 teams that they studied between 2012 and 2014. And what they found was there were 5 different categories, but the one category, which was head and shoulders above the rest, was how safe did the individuals in the team feel to speak out? And it was that psychological safety piece. And I do not mean people using that as a get out of jail card to don't talk to me like that or anything like that. Not that at all. I mean the fact that everybody expected to be grown, but everybody expected and knew they had a voice, that they could share when something went wrong, when there was a mistake. How can we better? How can we take this mistake and learn from it? So I believe that culture comes from really, really knowing each other, having really connected relationships. It doesn't mean being the best friend, but it means that we really respect and understand and have empathy for each other and our roles. But we also hold each other to account, because we are all accountable to the outcome, that we're all in the same boat, we're all rowing in the same direction. We all want to have that impact piece, and we're all, no matter what our job, no matter whether we're customer facing, whether we're the back end, whether we're the cleaner, whether we're the person delivering the food, whether the person that's meeting the customers, we've all got our role to play in that impact, and that we're all valued. So for me, it's about being safe to speak out, whether share an idea or to say I've made a mistake or to point a mistake out, and to know each other. And you know what? Trust that you've got each other's backs. And that those 3 are the magic ingredients for the best culture. I mean, they're life rules anyway, but in any organization, is that those relationships.
So you mentioned recruitment earlier. Obviously, when larger organizations and companies are recruiting, whether it be managerial roles or any other roles, you ideally want to identify whether this person is a culture fit. How do business leaders do that? How do you identify if someone's going to slot into your culture? I appreciate there's probably an element of risk anyway, because you don't know until they probably start. But are there any tips that you could share with business owners or people that recruit that could help them find people that would suit their culture?
There's a lot of studies going on at the moment, and you'll know the colour profile, and we talk about different characters and whether they're a high red or a high green or a high blue or a high yellow. We all have different types of personalities, and in any organizations need to have a mixture. We don't all want to be the same. So there's a lot of work that should go on before any recruitment happens of who do we actually need. And I don't mean the role that they have to play. We know that there's this task that needs completing, but what type of person, as in their personality, as in how they attack tasks and relationships, what are we missing? So looking at those categories are really important. And obviously there's a huge amount of psychometric testing, things that can go on as well. But I really believe having an understanding of people's high colours and whether what type of person you really need in that organisation is key. And actually talking about that in the recruitment process and sending out the questionnaire to find that out about the types of high colour that people are really, really, really helps. Obviously, I'm sure people know, but when you're interviewing, it's not about what would you do. You want examples of when they have shown this expertise or been in this situation. How did they problem solve? You want people who are coming to you with solutions, not problems. So you want to get them to share those examples. For me, it's always about the references. And it's not about the paper. I will always phone up. I will always have conversations with people who worked
Really?
with them. Yeah, yeah. So you get the written reference, absolutely, but I'll
Yeah.
always phone up, as you should do anyway, to check them.
Mm.
Maybe it's in education. Obviously, that's my background, so I'm very rigorous on this. But there's always that conversation to be had. Um, and I feel when you're a company that's going places and you've got that relationship, you've got that psychological safety, you've got that goal, your recruitment should be so easy because your team, they're your ambassadors. They're bringing you the people that they know will absolutely complement this business, this company, this clinic, whatever it is. So they're your best people, and that they will only bring the right people.
Wow. Powerful, very, very powerful. And just for our listeners, color profiling, could you give a quick summary of the different colors and characteristics, Penny?
Or a resource.
Yeah, I
Yes.
can, yeah. I would actually, there's some work that I've recently been doing through Brilliant Beyond Belief, which is my company with Dr. Mahmood Marji, with IMA, is with James Knight. So I would really look at researching James Knight and IMA as little IMA, and the I stands for identify. So when you're working with others, identify their colour. And every time we think about us, but actually no, think about the colour of other people. So identify, and then M is for moderate. So moderate your language and how you speak to them. And A is accept. We need to understand. And I'll give you a quick synopsis. Now it's slightly different to disc profiling and the other ones. So I'll explain it, but it's the same sort of concept. So there are four different colours. So you've got your high red people, and they are very, very task orientated. And they just want to get the job done and they're very assertive. So you've almost got two things you're looking for, your observation. So if you were to walk into a room and they are with me and you strong eye contact and you shook my hand really firmly, in my head I'm assessing you, so identifying, and if I've not met you or spoken to you, I've got nothing, that's my first interaction. I'd be thinking high red because you're assertive, got the confidence, and you're very direct. Yeah. If you went, hi, I'm Nahal, you're very direct. High red. Very often CEOs, people at those high positions. A high yellow is somebody who's really people orientated, not as much the task, still assertive, but it's not about getting the task done. It's about getting to know you, relationships. They will be very, very smiley, very open, chat to you for a long time. If you went into their office, they'd have lots of pictures of their family and stuff like that. It's that type of person. This is where it slightly differs with the IMA. The blue is your if you think sky, big picture thinking, really, really people orientated, very wants to keep the fairness, wants everybody to, will get lots of people's opinions first before they don't want to rock the boat too much. Really good team player. You can really feel you need those people in your team. They're the glue that sticks everything together. And then, so that's your high blue. And your high green, think about grass, somebody really rooted in the facts and very detail orientated. They want the facts, they want the detail. They're very, very, very happy to be working on their own. They don't need to have lots of teams. I need these people because I'm very, very yellow. Um, I need the high green people because they are the numbers, the people that will make sure I don't make any mistakes. I call them paperclip people, you know. It's the logistics, it's the people go, no, Penny, that's not going to work because of this, this, and this. No, oh, well, let's find a solution. We'll find a way. But they're the people that will make sure that you've got the grounding, if you think about the grass, to keep you where you need to be. So in any business and any organisation, and with IMA, actually, we're working with McDonald's at the moment, with a few of the McDonald's, you'll see on James Knight's LinkedIn if you look. There's in any restaurant, you need to have each type of colour. So when there's actually a questionnaire that people can fill in on application now to make sure that they're matching. So it's really, really interesting. And the colours are, if you're going into a lift, a really good analogy would be that there's a person there going like this on the button because they want it to come quickly. That's your red character. The person goes, hey everyone, how are you? That's your yellow character. The doors are about to close and the person puts their foot out to stop it, to let somebody in. That's your blue character, your team player. And the green character would be getting everyone in, just making sure we're all safe because they're checking the little plaque that we've not got too many people in the lift. That's how my analogy for understanding the high colours. There is a high colour. You're not definitely a red person or a yellow person. We're a mix of everything, but you'll have high colour tendencies.
And what's the mix in an organisation would you want of each colour? Would you want like equal numbers or does it really vary?
Most is 25 literally of each. But obviously, if you were in an analytical research data, you know, you're probably going to have more of your greens where it's the detail orientated. But you'll have other sections. So most of the time, it's literally 25% of each, but it really depends on the industry.
That's amazing. So I'm going to ask you another question, which I know is really popular. I know a lot of people struggle with this. Saying no, Penny. How do you, whether it be in an organization, personal life, professional life, how do you go about saying no, a high quality no? What are your tips on that?
Hey, are you enjoying this episode? If you are, you might love our monthly newsletter. It's where Nehal and I share podcast updates, community news, upcoming events, reflections, ideas, and some fun extras. You can sign up at the link in the show notes. Now, back to the conversation.
So it depends what you're saying no for. So I'm always back to the app. So for me, it's always about North Star. If you know the direction you're going, it's really easy because is this getting me towards my North Star? Yes or no? If it's not, it's a no. It's really that simple. You know, and if it's a yes, you know, next there's criteria and decision making tree of okay, can I handle this if it all goes wrong? Is it going to get me there quicker? You know, you've got different decision layers you can make, and I think we should all have a filter in our head because it's particularly in today's world. There's so much that you know, magpie. I'm a bit a shiny object on that, and I had to stay focused. And focus is king. Like if you're going to achieve anything in life, focus is king. So where are you going, and does this match to my North Star? That's it. And sometimes, because if I take it like a social, sometimes, you know, we're so focused, right? We're so focused on our business or our career or our study, depending where we are in our journey. And it might be, if you're thinking a friend phones you and it's 10 o'clock, should I go out at night? Now, for some person, it might be, do you know what? I've had a really tough week. I've worked a lot. I'm really tired. To get me towards my North Star, whatever that goes, I need to go to sleep. I'm going to say no. For another person, it might be, I've had a really tough week and I need to go out and have belly laughs. I know if I go out and have belly laughs with my friends, that's actually going to make me feel better and get me towards my North Star. So this doesn't mean going without all the things we like at all. It means being really cognizant of us and what we need right now. But I think so many times we put other people first and then we end up not failing, but almost decompressing and we're not thriving. And then actually we do everyone a disservice by not being our best. So really, you can only serve everybody else when you are at your best. So you have to look after yourself first. But it feels selfish, but it's not. It's actually selfless. And that's probably the biggest lesson. So really using that, does it match to my North Star? Yes or no?
Thank you for sharing that. I think this is a really common recurring thing that we find. I don't think it's exclusively women, but are disproportionately maybe a lot of women
No.
struggle with that. And I think you just fall into habits and patterns, a lot of people pleasing tendencies. But everything that we've spoken about in the last 15, 20 minutes has been screaming out one thing, and that's emotional intelligence, like self awareness and
Mm.
emotional intelligence. And that's so interesting how it's so deeply rooted to performance. And I think, yeah, lots of really amazing tools and tips and things, food for thought for our listeners. As we, I want to. Penny's got just one of the most incredible stories, and I want to give you a few minutes, Penny, for you to share your story, really, from little Penny into how you went on into your teaching career, founded a school, but also then pivoted your career as well. If you would you like to talk to us about that, please?
Oh, I'd love to. Everyone loves the story. Um, so my there's a little story. It's International Women's Day, isn't it, coming up? And this was probably it is my first memory, and it shaped my entire life. And I'm not sure I've shared it with you guys, but I can remember on the way home from school, I always wanted to be a teacher. So I knew, like, as one of those annoying kids in class when it was like, what do you want to be? And I knew straight away. And I'd have all my teddy bears and I'd have pretend registers in the library. I was going to be a teacher, nothing was going to stop me. And I can remember walking home from school. This is my earliest memory. I must have been 4 or 5, and we lived in Nottingham, and there was this cake shop called Birds, and we always used to go. Well, I think it was on a Friday. It was a treat. I can remember being in the queue with my mum, and it was quite a long queue. And we got to the front, and they missed us out and went to the person behind us. And my mum was really upset. She burst into tears, and I was like, "Mum, what's the matter?" And she just turned away and she went, "Nobody ever sees me. I'm completely invisible." And she was crying. And I was like, "Mum, it's okay." And I went to the counter and I jumped up and down and said, you've missed us out. And they apologised and we got the cakes. I'm like, "See, Mum, I've got them." And I thought she'd be happy. And she was really sad. And I can remember thinking, I don't ever want to be invisible, ever. And my dad was he's passed away now, passed away in the pandemic. My dad was a really strong character. And my mum was always Tony's wife. And that was it. And I can just, he'd walk into a room and the whole room would light up, but I could never even sort of remember my mum, and that was sort of really shaped that direction. And I always looked for female role models outside. Margaret Thatcher. Just growing up, when I was growing up, I used to see her on the TV in her power suits, and then I had the most amazing English teacher who was this fiery little woman who, gosh, nobody met her at my schools. It wasn't an independent school at all. It was a comprehensive, and nobody would dare speak in her room. But she was so good at what she did. She really inspired me as an English teacher. So those role models have been really important to me growing up. And like I said, I always wanted to be a teacher. And my dad was a bank manager, so we moved around a lot. And he was a bank manager back in the day when your bank manager was your best mate and they'd help you with your business, and he loved it so much. And then the banking industry changed and it was all target driven. And I can remember waking up every morning hearing my dad being sick every single morning. And I was a teenager by this point, and I didn't realise at the time, but he was having a nervous breakdown. And he was medically retired from the bank. And in that time, he lost that because he was always my biggest ambassador, always cheering me on. And, if you have a problem, if you've got a solution, Penny, you don't have a problem. That was our mantra. But he changed and yeah, there was a difference. And I was a teenager, rebelled a bit, fell madly in love. And then the hardest thing you'd ever have to say to your mum and dad at the age of 15 is, "Mum, Dad, I'm pregnant." And my mum and dad are quite religious, so I wasn't sure what their reaction would be. But I knew I wanted to teach and nothing was going to stop me. So before I told them, I'd found a charity called the Gingerbread Society, still in existence today, that helps teenage mums and dads actually to make sure they still get their education, and they teach you how to look after children and all of this, so have a baby and look after the baby. So I had somewhere to go. And yeah, I nearly went without saying anything. I nearly left a note, but I didn't. I stayed and told them, I said, it's okay. I've got a solution. I've got somewhere to go. I'm still going to be a teacher. And they were devastated. not that I was pregnant, but that I doubted them, and they really supported me. So had Chloe. I was 16 when I had her, and that night I remember looking at her, and everyone leaves you. So you had children, you're in hospital, and then everyone goes, and you're on your own with the baby, and it's the strangest moment. And at 16, not even stranger possibly. And I remember looking at her and going, "I've got you, and I promise you that no matter what, we're gonna have the best life, and we're not going to be on benefits. I'm going to work super hard." And that's why, literally, she was my driving force. And qualified as a teacher, best day. Got my whole class there, and yes, miss, and a real register this time. And I loved it. I loved teaching. I loved English. I did Shakespeare with them when they were really young, and the Shakespeare Schools Festival found out, and I piloted it for the whole country. It was some really exciting stuff. And then got married, wanted to have more kids. I'd got a really good job, and miscarriage, miscarriage, miscarriage. And to they said there was nothing wrong, it was just bad luck, and it just seemed ironic that you could, 16 years old, no problem, yeah, happy married, job, house, husband, wanting more and it not happening. So to get to help with my mental health, to be able to get through that resilience, I started doing a lot of running and biking. And this is the only reason I applied for it, which is hilarious. It changed the whole direction of my life. There was a job that came up in an independent school for head of English, and I've been teaching very long at all. So it was a real punt, but it was close enough to my home that I could run there and bike there. So I applied, that's the reason I applied. I didn't tell them that in the interview, but and I got the job, and I couldn't believe it. So I got the job, running and biking back from there, more miscarriages, 6, 7, 8 miscarriages. Climbed the career ladder very quickly, just focused in on work, and was made their deputy head at a very young age. Had another miscarriage. I finally got referred to the Recruitment Miscarriage Clinic in St Mary's, Paddington. Incredible place. And they found that I'd got 2 different blood clotting disorders. So when I injected my stomach with heparin, I could have a baby, no problem. It was just a miracle. So I got 2 more children. So now I've got 2 girls and a boy, and literally in hospital with deputy head of a beautiful school. And now I've got 2 girls and my little boy in hospital. Just had him, and the phone rings, and it's one of the governors, and the school's going to be taken over. There's a merger happening, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. And I had to go back in very quickly to school. Took my newborn with me. He's 15 now. And he's still, to this day, if he gets too near a photocopier, will fall asleep because he spent his early years in his pram next to the photocopier machine. And got us through the merger, but I realised I don't mind mergers and acquisitions. I understand business, and when they work well, they're brilliant. But you've got to be aligned. And our school we don't know, right, what jobs our kids are going to have. We don't know. They've probably not even been invented yet at all. So we've got to make sure that our kids are creative thinkers. So the arts are so important. And we've got to make sure that they're team players. So sport's really important. And they've got to be confident and have a voice. And our school was very much, there was as much sport as there was maths and English. There was, you acting out, everyone was singing. It was, if we wanted to learn about the rainforest, we'd go outside and we'd act it out. It was that type of thing. Children got a voice, they said whatever they needed to say. This school was very different. It was more sit down, very traditional, textbook. It just wasn't something that I could. One, my own children didn't want them to be there, and 2, I couldn't sell it. And it was my job to do the tours. So to cut a long story short, because obviously it's going to be aired, so I won't do all the detail, but I left that school and I saw a gap in the market because I've been spoiled by the independent sector. So I pitched and pitched and pitched, and not just me, a group of people, we got together and we got £1.2 million worth of backing, and we opened Burton Hathaway Preparatory School in Lincoln back in 2013, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I loved the branding, loved the marketing, I loved building the team. I loved understanding the profits and the loss and the numbers. I became a businesswoman very quickly. I learned a lot very quickly and realised that actually I was an entrepreneur, and I was the founder head. I was also appointed as a director for the Independent Schools Association, and I absolutely loved it. And then somebody said to me, "Penny, you're going to be, you've made it. Wow. Like, you're going to be here till you retire." I was in my 30s. I was like, this can't be. Can you imagine thinking that your best years are behind you, and that's it, you've done it. And I was like, this can't be the end of this story. Do you know what I mean? Die at 30 something, buried at 80. This can't happen. Now, I love my school and I'll always love it, and it's all part of me. But I wanted to have more impact than those families in the school. And that's when my husband had been in the police force and had a really bad accident and been medically retired. And he was told that he would have this painful life and have to walk with a stick for life. And instead of accepting that, he went on a journey to research different medicines, a lot of Eastern medicines. And when it worked, he trained in it. So he does acupuncture, cupping, core therapy, sports massage, and we set up a clinic at home as well. So he'd found this it was a webinar and it was a 3-day course about getting more clients because you got the clinic, but now you got to fill it. He's like, Penny, come on this course with me. And I was like, I'm really tired. I don't want to go. And he's like, please come. And I was like, head teacher. It was the holiday. I didn't want to. Watched the webinar and that was fabulous. This amazing woman called Lucy. And so, do you know what? It might help. It might help school as well with numbers. So we went and I was gutted because Lucy wasn't there. And it was someone called Dr. Mahmood Maoji. And I'm not kidding you, I nearly walked out. I nearly didn't stay. And Paul, my husband, was like, no, 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 stay, you come anyway. And I stayed. And you know, part of your brain is called the reticular activating system. It's like the Google of your mind. So if you type into Google red cars, what comes up, guys?
Red cars.
Red cars, yeah. And if you type up blue cars come on. So my reticular activating system was activated when that person said to me, oh, you'll be here for life. And I thought, I don't want that. There's got to be more to me. And when Mahmood started speaking, honestly, it felt like he was speaking to just me in the room. It was about, you know, when you have that feeling that there's more to you inside, that we've got a huge amount of potential. And if you think back to me, I'd been like a teenage mum, set up a school from scratch, when everyone said that couldn't happen. If I can make miraculous things like that happen, then anyone can do anything. And I wanted to help people do that. I didn't want it just to be me and the kids in this school. I wanted to be able to impact the world. And when he spoke, I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. And I turned to my husband and said, I've got to work with that man. And then the end of the day came. I don't know about you, but you know, when you're in the moment, it's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then at the end, you're like, no, it doesn't matter. And literally, I said to my husband, now, Joe, what? Who am I? He's not going to want to speak to me. Let's just go. My husband was like, no, I've never seen you have a reaction like that. You are speaking to him. And literally pushed me to the stage. Anyway, we had a conversation. First thing he said, Mahmood, was, how can I help you? How can I help you? And he genuinely meant it. And as an adult, not many people say that to you. And I just said, I just want you to help me have more impact. And I was really teary. It was an emotional moment. And we started working together. This was 2019. And he really helped me. You know, I was a director for ISA and I'd go Independent Schools Association and I'd go there and all these head teachers, they've been to like the Cambridges, the Oxfords, they're all very posh. And I felt a lot of imposter syndrome. And I'd sit there and then I'd come out and kick myself because I'd not spoken or not said what I wanted to say. And Mahmood really helped me to like, you've opened a school, Penny, you know, speak about it, talk about it, put your hand up more. And I literally started putting my hand up, started talking and researching about different areas of the curriculum. We did a lot about early years, which is not my bag. That's like the bit that I kept pushing away. So we did a huge amount in that, looked at curriculums, started speaking for the Independent Schools Association, did some work in Dubai, we're also doing some work with China to do with Burton Hathaway. And it really started speaking on a lot of stages globally. And then Mahmood said to me, you know, you're really good at this. Let's do something together. And that's when in 2020, literally as the pandemic hit, we started coaching individuals online how to make sure that next chapter was even better than the last. And we grew from zero to just shy of 3 million doing that on that journey, helping people to, gosh, they went on and had amazing impact. And then as the world opened up, we did more in person. I was still head teacher at this point of the school. So we were doing that at the same time. And then I went to co-headship and then put a head full time in there. So now I pop in and out of school. And about 3 years ago, those people who had been on we do weekend events, or we've been working with them for a year, coaching them. And a lot of them were founders of their own businesses. Some of them were high flying execs and like people like you guys who done incredibly well. Some of them were business owners and wanted us, they said, please, can you guys come and work with our teams? Like, we've got it. We can see the world of colour now. Like, you've changed our mindset and everything. There's no ceiling, but I need our teams to do that. So that was what we did about 2.5, 3 years ago. Started working with organisations and their teams. And recently, as in last year, we set up our Nairobi office as well. So we go in, work with organisations, usually with the C-suite and then heads of department, of how to get the best out of everyone. And these are really good companies, but they know there's another level. They want the next chapter to be even better. Still did the personal arm as well. So we've got that hybrid approach, and we've grown and grown. And that's, yeah, brilliant beyond belief, and really passionate about people knowing that there's so much in them and so much they can give to everyone around them. And that's our duty.
Thank you so
Wow.
much for sharing that, Penny. I loved that story, and I love it's so inspiring everything you've done and the way you spoke about it. But what really came through, Penny, was your passion. The way that
Oh,
you literally was just it was oozing through your skin, and even though we're not face to face, I can feel that passion, and that clearly is taking you places.
no.
One of the things I think you're great at, Penny, is the way you connect with people as well. And it's almost like you're networking but not networking. Like, what are your top tips around being in a room, not knowing anybody at all, and networking and working your way around a room? How would say somebody in front of you is like dead afraid of doing this, but they know they need to get themselves out there, so they're in a room full of people they don't know. What should they do?
I love this, and I do a lot of work. There's so many people that really dread networking, and meeting people is the only way, really. You know, I know we've got social media now, but there's nothing beats it, like being in an actual room with people. So I love helping people with this. And if you're feeling nervous and scared, it's really normal. It is so normal. Our human brain is created to keep us safe. So that's, I want people to firstly recognise that it's normal. And even when I'm going into a room now, I still have that sometimes. That's okay. It's adrenaline. See, it's excitement, not nerves. Tell your brain, I'm excited. So the first thing and the most important thing is your energy, right? How are you, before you go in the room, you have got to be in the right state. So whatever it takes for you to be able to shift your state so that your what we call the prefrontal cortex of your brain is fired up, and you're getting rid of the bit that's trying to keep you safe, which is the amygdala, squashing that down. So it might be, I don't know, listening to your favorite music. It might be shouting, I am the best networker in the world 28 times in your car before you get out. I don't know. There's something for you that gets you in that right state. And for me, I know that if I spray my perfume on, a bit of lipstick, and just literally some breathing exercises, even if I've had a really tough day, I can fire up that prefrontal cortex and have the energy. Because when you walk into a room, the energy, people feel it, and you want to be a magnet. So you'll know when you walk into a room, there'll be people like, oh, I really want to speak to that person. There's a reason, because they're emanating an energy from them. Like, it's like, when you're in a car and you're in a traffic jam and you can feel somebody and they're looking at you, it's energy, it's there. You can feel it. So one, get yourself in the right state first. There's nothing worse than going networking at the end of the day when you're so tired and you really don't want to go. We all feel like that. So change your state and be in the right state, whatever it takes. But when you go in, evaluate the room first. When I talked about the high colours before, you'll see them. The high red's going around like at a rate of knots, like shaking hand, getting the business card to the next person, really confident. And you'll see like your high blue is just hovering a little bit. I always go up to the people on their own first. So if there's anyone on their own, go up to them. Hi, how are you? I saw you on your own, and introduce yourself. And don't ask questions like, what do you do? They're killers. What do you do? Think something like, tell me about your world. Or what's the most exciting thing you're working on right now? It wants to be something like that. So it's not just their job and their role will come out, and then listen. Just get them to speak for, even if they say, well, what do you do? Oh, I'm far more interested in you. Tell me about your world, and kick it back and listen. So when you listen, then you can change, like not change because you're being fake. You can change to make sure you serve them to the best of their ability. And that really is it. And know that everyone in that room is human. There'll be some people that you feel an energy and a connection with. There'll be some people that you don't, and that's okay. You're not there to connect with everybody. So spend a good few minutes with someone, but don't get stuck. A lot of the time, our comfort zone is we'll find someone we really like them, and then we'll stay in the corner with that person. It's like when we were back at school. If you're there to network, what's your focus? So North Star, should I stay with this person for the whole night? Does that map towards my North Star? Absolutely not. I've come here to network with as many people as possible. So yes, connect. Make sure you've connected, whether it's on WhatsApp or LinkedIn. Lots of smiles. Find something out about them that will register. So when you message them, so I hope you managed to get home on time, or I hope it was something that registers, and then go, do you know what? I really enjoyed this conversation. I'd love to catch up with you another time and we'll connect, but we are here to network and then move to the next person. But that's really it. So I feel the best thing you can do is get yourself in the right state. People will want to come and talk to you.
Oh,
And then make
amazing.
sure you move. Yeah. Make
I
sure you
love that.
move.
I think the bit that really, really resonated with me was I think I get really overwhelmed when it's a room full of people because in my head, I have to go and speak to every single person. And I think that's exactly, it's not the right thing to do. And it just stresses me out. And I then lose the enjoyment of the whole thing.
Mm.
So I love that point about start off with the people by themselves, connect and move on, connect and move on. But the aim isn't to get everyone's number by the end of the night. That is not the aim. And I love that. I think
Mm.
those steps are going to be really, really useful.
But also, I really resonated. Penny, you're about to say something.
No, 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 go.
I was a bit where you actually, like, you're like, yeah, I finally got myself into the room. You finally got to speak to someone. Oh my God, I'm speaking to someone. And then you're just like, that's it. Then you're in your comfort zone. And then I find it really awkward, sometimes, and also borderline rude to be like, okay, bye now. I'm going to go speak to someone else. But I think the way you've sort of like just said, the way you can move on in a bit more of a gentle, polite, but in assertive way, to say, love to connect with you, at another time. It's been great meeting to you. We are here to network, so have a really good day. We'll catch you later,
Yeah,
sort of thing. That's honest, and that's
really
It,
honest.
it, did, it did make me laugh because whenever we go to networking things or events, Tedra was like literally to me, she's like, Neha, you're acting like there's a rocket up you, just like, flying around the room. And then I'm like to Tedra, come on, like she's so good at listening. She's so good at connecting. I'm like, come
Too
on, Tedra,
much.
like, where are you? You're still there.
You need a happy medium between you
Yes,
both.
yeah.
literally, we need to average out.
But yeah, and I'm so
Oh,
excited actually to try these tips out. That's brilliant. I've got an event hopefully coming up on Friday, so I'll be looking to implement straight away. Penny, you're about to say something before I jumped in.
yeah, there was two things. One of the when you go to networking, the person who's hosting, it is their job to help you. So if you're really like, if there's a certain clientele you're looking to meet, go to the host and say, look, I really want to meet lawyers this evening. Could you point me in the right direction, or could you introduce me to? And then the host will introduce you to people. So always get really friendly with the host. That it's their job to make sure that you feel welcome and settled, and they're there to advise you. So make them your best friend first of all. The other thing is, whenever you're speaking to anyone, try to find something you can compliment them on. Whether it's, oh, you've got such a lovely energy, or I love your smile, or I really like your tie. Something that just makes them feel really good about themselves is a really good starting point. And people don't do that very often. So that's something good to do. And then my third tip is, if everyone is in groups, because sometimes you go and there's nobody on their own, go up to the group and just say, hi, do you mind if I join you? And they will always say that, and then stop and listen. Don't try to take over the conversation, and then they'll bring you in gradually. Um,
Mm.
the other thing I have found, I don't know whether it's just me, so maybe you guys find it, but if I go to a networking meeting and there's somebody on their own and I go to them and we have a chat, they don't want to let go of me because they're a bit insecure. So the way there is, come on, let's network together. And then you take them with you and you introduce them as well as yourself to everywhere you go. And it really helps them as well. And be the connector in the room. So if you meet someone and they really should be meeting that person over there, but they've not connected, literally take that person and go, you need to come and meet Ken over here because he's absolutely who you're looking for. You're going to get on really well. People love that because you're helping everyone else and you'll be remembered for that.
That's
Wow.
love that.
I'm so excited. Now, my question is, obviously, being in the dental world, we come across loads of dentists, loads of networking events and conferences within the dental world. Say you wanted to network with other people outside of your industry, where do you find networking events?
If you're in London, you're so lucky because I mean, gosh, you could go to five in a day. There are so many networking um, opportunities. Like literally, I used to do when I did this. When we started going in the corporate world, one of the only ways to do it was to go networking, and I would do 100 in a month. Sometimes it was mad. So you literally go onto Eventbrite. in London, business networking. There are so many breakfast, mid-morning, lunch, mid-afternoon, all afternoon, early evening, late evening. There are so many networking opportunities in London. It's all on Eventbrite. There are others as well. Connect to some, yeah, literally just go onto Eventbrite or Google networking opportunities in London and look for them. What I would do then, I had a spreadsheet, I was a little bit OTT on it, but I'd literally star rate them because you know how good they are, just myself, so I would know whether to go back and the types of people that I met and how I felt, because I'm actually better in the breakfast meetings than I am at the end of the day. I like breakfast meetings, but there's all sorts of opportunities. Yeah. In fact, we're doing one, I think it's on the 14th of April at Eagle Labs in Shoreditch. So your listeners are welcome to that. It's networking and workshop. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's so many.
we'll put your details in the episode so then
Yeah,
people
thank
can
you.
connect with you directly. So awesome! No, that's great. As we wrap up, it's been a wonderful, inspiring. Like I feel like I've got a rocket up me now. Like, I'm ready to go.
You need to go networking now.
Let's do one on network on a Sunday morning. As we yeah, through all your experience, Penny, most of our listeners tend to be women in their 30s, or and they're around dotted around the world. If there's like one key message that you would love to leave them with, something that's from your journey, or some like advice that you wish you could tell your younger self, what would that message be?
Um, Firstly, only ever take advice from people you truly respect. You still there? Yeah. I thought you were phrasing then. Yeah. Only ever take advice from people you truly respect. That I think with those, particularly for women, I'm not being sexist, but I feel that everyone thinks women ourselves, we're bad enough at it. Everyone's always giving you advice. Oh, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this. And I'm like, there's just too much. So take it, but only take advice from people you really, really respect or who've been on that journey before you, a few steps ahead of you, because they'll have made the mistakes and they will be able to teach you and you'll be able to learn from them. And it's not about belief. I think I wish someone had said to me when I was a kid, even, it's not about belief. It's really hard to believe that you're good enough. It's really hard to believe that you can make it happen. What you have to do is you just have to start behaving as if you've already got it. You've got it's the actions. Take the actions, and you know you. It's only you. There is always a solution. You might have to ask for help to get there, and that is not a weakness. There's always a solution, and you actually put your one foot in front of the other. And even when it's hard, know that I'll get there one day. It's going to be hard today, but it's going to pay off. So ask for help. There is a solution, and start with the action. Start doing what you need to do today. Don't wait for that belief because that comes later with results. You're not going to get that unless you start doing the action. It's the action that takes you there and gets you towards that North Star.
That's incredible.
Fantastic. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much for
so,
being here, Penny.
thank you
No,
so
no problem
much.
at all. Thank you.
You've been outstanding. Your story is phenomenal. And I know that all our listeners, male, female, all across the world, are going to gain so much value from this conversation. So thank you.
No, thank you. We've got an impact goal to hit 1 billion lives by 2030 with Brilliant Beyond Belief, myself and Dr. Mahmood Maji. So doing this is really going to help hit so many more lives. So thank you so much, guys.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoy this episode, don't forget to hit follow on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and to hit subscribe on YouTube so that you never miss a new one. It really helps if you rate and review the show, and if you found this episode valuable, share it with a friend, family member, or colleague. We appreciate your support and we'll catch you next time. Bye bye.